Disclaimer: this video is very controversial. If you are faint of heart and not open to different opinions, I suggest you leave the video now. If you are of sound mind and heart, you will understand everything in this video, and many of the questions you have about humanity's origins will begin making a lot of sense. Our journey starts in one of my first college classes, Anthropology 1. You could tell my professor was very passionate about the science of humanity and cultural facts. I followed mostly everything he said about cultures, but when it came time to discuss how we became modern humans, I couldn't follow any longer. What's being taught as scientific fact is that the reason why we are so vastly different than the rest of the mammals on Earth is because we started cooking and eating higher quality proteins that gradually increased the capabilities of our brain. When I first heard that, I found it very difficult to believe. What we will uncover today is the closest we can get to the true history of humanity and its origins. To know why humanity must end, you must know the history of this planet. Have you ever heard of a man named Noah and the great flood that wiped out majority of the Earth's inhabitants? This same flood appears in all of the major religious texts of today, but where does it come from originally? The answer may surprise you. The Islamic religion is 1300 years old. Christianity is 2000 years old. Judaism is 4,000 years old. The tablets that first detail the Great Flood are over 6,000 years old. It doesn't take much more than a simple Google search to verify the carbon dating on these ancient records. These ancient tablets come from the first recorded human civilization in ancient Sumeria. Their mere existence has birthed several major religions and is not a dead story. I believe this story is still being written and it's entering its final stretch right as we speak. Written in these ancient tablets is a story of an extraterrestrial civilization named the Anunnaki that came to Earth to mine it of its gold. These extraterrestrials were said to have a dying planet and needed gold to revive its atmosphere. Isn't it odd that the civilization where these tablets were found just so happened to be a place that once had an abundance of gold? In this story, these Anunnaki beings were massive, powerful, and also masters of technology. They created a slave race to mine Earth's gold called the Igigi. The Igigi were very rebellious as a slave race, so the Anunnaki killed the Igigi and decided they needed a better solution. I will stop the story here to make a point. If you were an alien race looking to mine the Earth of gold and you had to choose between all of the earthly creatures to base your slave race from, which would you pick? Certainly dolphins are intelligent, but they can't mine gold with their flippers. I believe this would answer why we share 99% of our DNA with monkeys. They have the perfect opposable thumbs for the job. Not only that, being bipedal, they resemble how the Anunnaki stood up. As the saying goes, we were created in God's image. Back to the story. There were two Anunnaki gods who were brothers named Enki and Enlil. Please note that their relationship will explain a lot about what is going on today. Enlil was a god of the atmosphere and Enki the god of water. Enlil tasked Enki with the responsibility of creating the next slave race who would mine the Earth's gold and revive their home planet Nibiru. Enki was a master of genetic engineering and created humankind. All went well with the project until Enlil became annoyed with the humans. He wanted them not to produce as much, and also he hated how loud they could be. When the project was complete, Enlil decided to kill all of the humans and cause a great flood that would purge the earth of their existence. While they were brothers, Enki did not like this. Humanity was a part of himself. He made them to be creative, emotional, and in his likeness. As a final resort, he went to his favorite human, Noah, and clothed him and prepared him for what was to come. The reality is, humanity survived because of Enki. However, the story does not end here. It ties seamlessly into the major religious texts of today, so keep watching to see how. While we're talking about Enki and how he created humanity, I will describe him now. The name Enki literally translates to Lord of the Earth. He is described as the god of the sea, and his symbol is a goat-fish hybrid. In statues, he is sometimes depicted as a man with the skin of a fish. In the story of Adam and Eve, this character would be described as the snake who gave humanity the forbidden fruit. Why would he be related to an evil figure in Christianity if his entire story is based on how he is the creator and protector of humanity? The answer will make a lot of sense soon. Enlil was not happy about his plan of exterminating humans being foiled by his brother. Let's talk about him. His name literally translates to God of the Wind or God of the Weather. It makes sense why he would see a flood as the best opportunity to remove humanity. It's important to keep in mind that Enlil did not want humans to reproduce and place strict limits on how many could be created at the time of the gold mining. Enlil has many names, and one of them is Yahweh. Today he is known as Michael the Archangel by Christians, or the God of the Jewish faith. From researching all the available information, the conclusion that I've drawn is that the Anunnaki revisited the Earth. Not like before though, not with the whole planet of Nibiru. This time, only a small amount of them revisited the Earth thousands of years ago. What they introduced to humanity was the Abrahamic religions, and many of the major religions share many differences, but one thing they are all concrete on is the end of the world. Remember the ages of each of these religions. The Islamic religion is 1300 years old, Christianity is 2000 years old, and Judaism is 4000 years old. All of these religions detail the ending of humanity being the return of a deity of some kind, and shortly after, a day of judgment where pain and sadness will be equally distributed to the sinners or evildoers of the earth. The eldest of these three are Judaism. What's curious about Judaism is that their ending does detail a great judgment of humanity, however its ending is not filled with pain and sadness. This is said to be the most beautiful time to be of the Jewish faith. There is a reason the word Gentile exists. This word only separates Jews and non-Jews, Gentiles and non-Gentiles. Many modern-day Jews or westernized Jews don't believe this. However, older, more Orthodox Jews believed at the time of God's return, the rest of humanity will become slaves to the Jews, and what's more is they will be happy to serve them. It's interesting that Jesus of Christianity is a Jew, and at the end of the story of Islam, it describes a time where Jesus will return and rule the earth and be buried next to Muhammad. Look again at the ages of these religions. The Islamic religion is 1300 years old, Christianity is 2000 years old, and Judaism is 4000 years old. It would seem to the rational thinker that all of these religions stem from Judaism. I can't tell you what to believe. I can only open your mind to the possibility that humanity is a slave race and is playing perfectly into its owner's hands. I have nothing against the Jewish faith or its people. I am only sharing facts and history. What's factual is that Jews are 0.2% of the world, yet Jews own 89% of American banks, 96% of NBA teams, 93% of NFL teams, and practically all Hollywood studios. I am simply sharing the numbers and data with you so you are able to draw your own conclusion. If you don't believe humanity is a slave race, why is it that over 90% of the world lives in poverty and must work to keep this machine going? Stop and think about it. Is it that far-fetched that we were created as a slave race to mine gold and given paper for our efforts? I will leave that up for you to decide. So what's next for our story? What I personally believe is that the gods will return to Earth and humanity will likely see its final days of life as we know it. Enki being our creator and protector, he will not simply idle by while we suffer defeat. There are many gods who care deeply about humanity and know exactly what is happening to us. They will return to wage war with the enemies of humanity. It's my prediction that this will happen between the years 2040 and 2050. I believe that these religions were created to divide us, so I want to have an opposite effect here. Let's live together peacefully as we are all a part of a much greater story. Embrace history and facts, and share this video with someone you love. Thanks for watching.